going to be a very simple green bean dish. Sauteed green beans with garlic, red pepper, shallots. We're going to finish it off with a little bit of balsamic vinegar over the top. As that balsamic goes in there, it actually will reduce, so it kind of thickens it up a little bit, but you're going to have everything hot. It's going to be very quick at the end, and this is something you can have prepared way in advance. Boil off your green beans. We're going to show you what to do with those in case you haven't ever really used fresh green beans before. A lot of people use either canned, which I personally do not like at all, or they use ones that are frozen with the ends snipped. Sometimes you can get them at a supermarket that are already snipped, but why not go to while you're going down to get your vegetables, pick up a couple of handfuls of green beans. It's simple, and they're so much better. You haven't lost any of the flavor, none of the vitamins. Everything is still sitting in that green bean that you've just picked. It hasn't been processed at all. I love using things that are not processed. In this restaurant, we use all fresh ingredients. Everything is made from scratch. One of the only things I don't make right now is my desserts, but we don't sell a lot of desserts, so that's okay. What I'm going to do is, these green beans have not been trimmed, and when you go there, you're going to see that, they're not all perfect. Again, that's okay. You trim the ends off. If you find one that has a little spot on it, just trim that away. If you see a whole green bean that doesn't look good, throw it away. They're cheap, they're inexpensive, and they're good for you. So what I normally do is I take 3 at a time, and I'll just take them like that and line them up with my knife so that the tips are there. And then, oh yes, I love a good knife. You want to take that end off. This has got a stem on it. It has all that fiber in at the end. So when you start to eat that part of it, it's a little bit tough on the throat. It's not real pleasant to eat. And you want to do it on both sides. You want to trim both sides, because when they come off, sometimes the other side isn't as nice and not as pretty. But you just want to do that. You just 3 at a time. Keep your fingers in the right position so that you're not slicing your fingers off if you can. That's always nice to do. What we're going to do is we're going to blanch these off very quickly in boiling water. What you want to have with that is an ice bath. And what you're going to do is stop the process of cooking very quickly. And what that does, it actually will keep the color in the green bean so that they don't fade. Especially when you're just getting them off the farm fresh and they have that beautiful color to them, you want to preserve that. And that's the way to do it. Shock them with cold water when you're done. Again, I like to marry up flavors. I normally don't do this, but because we already used basil in the soup, I like to continue on with a theme through my dinners. So at the end of this, I'm going to add a little more basil to this just to give it that flavor, and it kind of brings you back to your chowder. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these very quickly. I have some boiling water down here. While I'm waiting on my water to boil here, I'm going to heat my pan up for my green beans, for my saute. After these have been boiled and blanched off and cooled down, I'm going to throw them back into a pan for service. I'm going to add some butter and olive oil to this. I like the butter flavor in there along with olive oil. If you want to just do olive oil and keep this vegan again, that's not a problem. It's your decision. It's your taste buds that need to do this. But the ingredients that are coming, you'll have everything there for you. If you want to add different things to this, to make it your style, please feel free to do that. While we're waiting on the water to go, I'm going to take this pepper, and we're going to use this also in the green beans. I like that. It's one of my favorites to serve when we go catering. And what I like to do is, again, take all your seeds out. And then you want to take this white pith out too, because that, again, is bitter. We didn't do it on the other because it's mixed in so much. But when you're eating it just like this, you just want to take that out. It gives it a nicer flavor. There we go. And what I like to do is nice long strips. Nice julienne of this is what you want to do. You don't want them too thick. You don't want them too thin. You don't want them to melt into the green beans. You want to still have them, and you want to have a little bit of flavor with them. I normally chop mine in half. I think it makes them a little easier to eat, even though you're doing the green beans are about the same size. But I like to have, and that's about a half a pepper. That's all you really need for that many green beans. You can see it's almost, a third of what you would put in for green beans. 2 garlic cloves. Garlic clove, I usually take my garlic clove, just smash it like this. And it's there. Very easy way to chop garlic. And then you want to mince this up. You want this pretty fine. I think you're going to find that the local garlic has a little bit more pungency to it. It's a little bit more powerful than the ones that you're going to get from California, which to me usually have a kind of a shy flavor to them. But when you get them fresh like this, they're absolutely delicious. I'm also going to add some shallot to this. You can use any onion you want. You can use red onion, you can use a nice white pearl onion, you can use a sweet onion. Whatever you want to use in this, you can do that. I just happen to have shallots and I like shallots. And for you that don't know that, the flavor of a shallot is kind of a cross between an onion and garlic, which, you know, we're not adding onion to this, but we are certainly adding garlic to it. Now we're going to mince this. That's a shallot. Kind of purple in color. Going to trim the ends off. This again, you want to peel. It comes like an onion. You peel it. My way of doing this is just to, so I want nice thin pieces. Come on. So now you got a little, you just want to chop that real thin like that. Watching your fingers, especially if you're using a sharp knife. And that's plenty right there. You don't want to overpower again. You just want good flavor. So right now, I'm going to go blanch my green beans. I'm going to take them, put them into my boiling water. Look at that now. Almost like I know what I'm doing. So we just have a regular ice bath, ice and water, so that when these green beans are done, we want to shock them in the cold water to retain their color. You want to cook your green beans just until they're al dente. You don't want these limp, you don't want them, you don't want them limp. You want them nice and crispy still. And again, when you get these fresh from the garden, they're delicious. When they're real fresh like that, you may want to go 5 minutes on them. I always taste them as I went along. You take them out, taste them. And now what you want to do is you just want to take these out. Put them in here. It's okay if you have a little bit of ice in there. Just want it to cool them down. I want to get rid of the ice though. My fingers. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take all these ingredients from here and we're going to saute them off. I'm going to start with my shallots and my garlic and my red pepper because these are already cooked through. These are almost done. I'm going to start with just, I would recommend strongly that you heat your pan up before you get started because there's an old saying, a hot pan, cold oil, food won't stick. If you try to put it into a cold pan and start trying to melt your butter and things like that, you'll get food that's going to stick on you. But if you have a hot pan, cold oil, food doesn't stick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil. You don't want to, again, you just want to coat the bottom. You want to coat the bottom. You can see the way the heat on this, I'll just grab inside here. You can see the way it kind of pearls up a little bit. And now I'm going to add my butter. Because like Julia, you gotta have the butter. Butter. Must have butter.
There was a short-lived cooking.
And you want it just on a nice saute like that. You see how it's bubbling up? Those milk fats are in there from the butter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk right over there. This is still going. I want to melt that all the way. And we're now just going to add our shallots and garlic and our red pepper all at once. We're going to get that up on a little higher heat here. And this again, you can get this all the way to this point. If you wanted to make this the day before and get it to this point, saute these off. Your green beans are already done. You can put that in the dish and then just add it to a pan the next day or later on that day and saute them right off. You start seeing the red color coming out and then turn that heat down a little bit. You do not want to burn garlic or the shallots. Again, Bitter taste, especially on garlic. There we go. Gonna let that saute off for a few seconds. So that's all you want to cook that. That's, 2 minutes, 3 minutes on there at most. I've turned the heat down a little bit. I am going to add a little salt to this because we haven't salted anything yet. So I'm going to add a little bit of that. And now what I have is just regular aged balsamic vinegar that I'm going to add on top of that. And you want to do this just before service. If you don't do that, it could take on an odd color because of the vinegar. So what you want to do is just add a little bit of this just before service. And then as you do this, there's probably 3 tablespoons in there, about. And you can see the way that's starting to turn into almost like a little glaze. I'm going to turn that down again. And those are done. I guess I really do use a lot of towels. Clean this up a little bit. You want your dishes to look pretty too. You don't want to just slop things in there. Again, if you wanted to add basil to this to marry it up to your soup for later on, you can do that. But I'm just going to put a little garnish on there like we did before. As they say, you eat with your eyes first. As a meal comes to your table, you're looking at it, your mind starts thinking about the food that's coming out. You'll get the smell next, which really enhances everything that's coming out to you, and it should be pleasurable. And then from there, you get to taste.